All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I wanted to come in here this morning and I wanted to talk to you a little bit more on a personal conscious level. And the reason why I say a personal conscious level is because I understand that unless somebody gets up and says something that's going to stimulate the mind and conscience of the people, that understanding, discernment, and other avenues or ways of thinking will not be open unto us. And make no mistake about it, we're in an information war. And, you know, it's easy to take advantage and have power over someone when you have all the information. And then you limit or you decide what kind of information you're going to give to the people. We need to understand that truth is perished in the land. I mean, think about it for a moment. There's, everybody as an individual, we all say that we love truth, but the real truth is, and the reality is that we all love truth up until a certain point. Because when you embrace the truth and you start living the truth, I don't care what that truth may be or what it is, you ultimately are getting ready for an opposition of change, which a lot of people are not going to be on board. And you need to know that before you even go into it. You need to have a clear conscience because, a lot of apprehensions or being apprehensive about, making changes is because in the back of our heads, in the back of our minds, we have the fear and the concern of what others think or what family members are thinking, or I'm afraid to actually make the change based on others people's rejection of what I've come to understand to believe. And you can't allow your life to be dominated and controlled by unseen forces like that. I mean, you can't allow your life to be controlled by thoughts and perceptions and perceiving the way someone may behave or the way someone may react or the way someone believes. So, I mean, look at it for what it is. There's a lot of people that have a form to where they seem like they love the truth until it comes in their backyard. But the only way that you can really, truly find out where a man or a woman's heart is you have to actually watch the things that they do and the things that they do not do. And I actually teach the people, no matter where I go, that you need to start paying attention, number one, to yourself, the things that puts a roadblock and a barrier up in front of you. You need to pay attention also to those who are friends, because a friend does love it all the time, but you're ultimately going to be wounded, and you're going to receive the majority of the wounds by your family and by your close friends. That's not to say that they're your enemy. It's just that's where you're going to receive the majority of your opposition. And the reason being is because there's a soul tie there. There's a fondness, there's an acceptance there. But you really ought to start learning the art of discernment and paying attention to things that people, that they don't do. For instance, I'll give you an example. I go places and I may return to those places and I ask them, okay, learning everything that we've spoke about the last time I was here, how many of you have become proactive and went out and actually bought at least 1 ounce of silver? Now, the sad part about it is when you ask that question and nobody responds, the first thing that comes into your mind is to question that apathy, to question that complacence, to question that sloth, because the people understood it. They got it, they received it, at least it seemed like they did. But then when it came time for the performance of action, we found out that the truth is that they're functioning after the same thing they've learned in society, which is just mentally assent to things and agree, but don't ever really expect any action. Now, believe it or not, that is the ultimate form of betrayal, because if you have somebody depending upon you to perform something that you said that you were going to do, and then you don't do it, and you do not inform them of your steps and your behavior and stuff, you are allowing thoughts to come into the minds of people to doubt you, to question you, And then ultimately, when they start changing their behavior towards you, because the integrity that was once there is now compromised, then the fight starts. The fight really starts because, we're not walking around discerning each other. We're not walking around trying to figure out and understand, number one, me. It's always everybody else. But, you check out that dissonance and you make, it makes you wonder, what in the world could it be that will cause people to understand, to learn, to know, and then not perform? I mean, I went out to a meeting some time ago, and I actually bought 20 silver eagles with me. Brand spanking new. Never been touched by the hands of man. And I gave at least an hour lecture on the importance of silver, how silver has been money for 6,000 years, and how that ultimately, regardless of what's taking place today, we're ultimately going to return back to tangible assets because the people are losing confidence in this fiat currency system. They understand that this is just a scheme. It's one big gigantic Ponzi scheme. But I had to educate the people who were totally ignorant of what has been real true money, since in this particular generation, everybody's always believed that greenbacks were money. And they understood it, they got it, and then I returned no more than maybe a month later and asked them, how many of you people at least bought one? Not one person that I can remember. Now, I could be wrong, but from what I got, I do know that I ended up going into a what you call a form of rebuke and correction, which we as Americans, we hate it because whenever we experience correction, it's very grievous. And we don't like the grief. What we should do is learn how to turn that negative energy that we're receiving when we receive correction in something positive that will cause us to be a man or woman of action and to bring about a performance. But usually, since the majority of people are guided by their feelings and guided by their emotions, that's the reason why people can't make sense of things today. And that's the reason why you continually keep seeing this same old attitude, this same old apathy, this same old thing repeat itself again in life. And ultimately, you're going to see that these people, you can go back 10 years from the time that you were last at a particular location and ultimately see that these people have not made any changes whatsoever at all, nor have they made any advancements. And the problem is the lack of receiving truthful information, which always causes pain because it demands change. And then the hardest thing after that is becoming a performer. A man or a woman's words carry a lot of weight when the performance is there. Now, the next thing from there is you can look forward to somebody being envious and jealous towards you when you work very hard to accomplish something in your life, and you're very passionate about what you do, and you set goals for yourself, and you do not let anybody impair you from your vision, impair you from your direction of that goal. And you're going to experience an enemy that will come in. And it could be somebody in your own household. It could be someone who wants to come in and move right alongside you and watch you for a little while. And ultimately, then they're looking to throw you under the bus at the first opportunity. So, there's a lot to be had. There's a lot of things to desire that should be desired and things be understood. But I think you get the picture of what I'm saying. Unless you're willing to accept the painful truth, whether it be on social, political, economic, and what the world calls today the religious front, no matter what that truth be, there's never going to be what you call any lasting change that will bring about a satisfaction that will comfort the soul until the mind is ultimately made up. And the old ways that kept you from walking in that truth, you no longer obeying that voice, and you have died to that wicked conscience.